Here we go. Welcome everybody to our weekly webinar. Today is going to be our technical operation of the mobile monitoring of devices and also our parking lot. So it is exciting. There's quite a bit of information. So please take note that we are sharing just a brief information introduction regarding the technical operations, just to give you some sort of a guidance. Obviously, we do have special training and classes for this specific products itself. So keep that in mind as well. So we're going to move along, and then I'm going to be discussing a few things, show a few videos. There's quite a few. So let's hope they come through decently. Okay, come on, move along. PowerPoints. All right. So regarding the training objectives, first, we're going to be looking at the master station for the mobile device and with it working through the HIK-Central Professional. So the next one will be having a look at the docking station with the body cams, which is pretty cool, through HIK-Central. Then we're going to look at the master station itself through the vehicle list itself and also the parking lot management for the HIK-Central Pro. So that's a little bit different itself, but it's still in the same contents. And then also we're going to have a look at the parking lot, the rules and the workings of that as well. And then the last one that we'll be discussing is just the general parking site system works itself, all right, through the HIK-Central Pro. Okay, so as we go through, so as our contact will be going through itself, will be the mobile devices, the docking stations, and the parking lot management. So during the first part itself for the mobile devices, this is just a general information, obviously, of those type of devices. So first of all, these devices are for mobile use itself. So that's mostly into any vehicles, trucks, and buses and stuff like that. Courier companies can use them, on-response vehicles can use them. So there's quite a vast amount of mobile situations that you can use this environment, which is pretty good. Right, so you'll have a little map and you have all the little features on the vehicle. So starting off, first of all, GPS. The GPS monitoring will give us the location of the vehicle or truck, tracking it itself. Obviously also looking at events, alarms, making sure that we get that notifications through the GPS where that event is and where that alarm is taking place and what it's for. And the next one is obviously for the vehicle operation side of things, to be able to make sure that we can control where the vehicle is going through the GPS itself, direction and stuff like that. Then we have our storage side of things to make sure that our video is back up and also managing it itself. And then the last one will be for our reporting in our history for our data. So reports itself, it's nice to be able to see what the driver's behavior is. It's reports stats because a lot of vehicles get used by multiple different drivers. And also you have your event log if something might have happened, or you just want to say, you know, if there's any drivers, or you just want to know how many of those drivers have some sort of warnings where they didn't comply with those warnings. So you can pull that event reports, the business report. So if a client is asking, but no, the person didn't stop by my house as an on-response company, you would be able to pull that report and show it to the client and say, you know what, he was there, this is the time period, that's the location, and here's also the video feed of that, which is pretty awesome. All right, and then just the normal management of the reports itself. So regarding the solution of the overview of these devices itself, so the first one that we have here is just a normal situation. You'll have the mobile recorder itself, the mobile NVR. Then we also have the outside cameras, the inside cameras. We have a panic button inside the vehicle. The optional is for also to have the monitors. You can also have an intercom built into it. So you have that two-way communication from your control room, which is pretty amazing. So that gives you the first solution. Our second one is obviously our normal server one. It's a little bit more advanced, so it gives you more information with the intelligent algorithm that's built into it. So this is a very nice device, especially very popular with our G4 models itself. These specific models have different body cams and different dash cams and etc., for different uses. So you have a monitor inside if you would like to. It's optional, it's not needed. So because the driver doesn't need to see himself, you obviously as the operator or the control room or the manager needs to monitor that. Then you have the first few models that normally generally get used. This middle one here, the BBA camera itself, that is a very nice little camera. It doesn't look like a normal camera. It sticks in front of the dashboard looking at the driver. We align it up. It's got a little screw there at the bottom as well. And then once you line it up, it basically already has a block already drawn up. So on that block itself, you need to look at the person's face. The nice thing about this is the algorithm that's built into it. So if the driver is not focusing on the road, it will alert him and also alert the company. If the person is smoking inside the vehicle, if he's on his phone, if he's maybe got a girlie next to him and he's holding her and, you know, hey babe, it will warn. So all those type of little analytics is there. So it depends on the company which ones they would like to monitor. I know that the one that we tested also that I played around with, we put the sensitivity high and also the duration. So every time I go through McDonald's or KFC, it keeps on saying that I need to focus on the road, but I'm in a drive-through. So it was quite funny. So obviously those type of things needs to be adjusted, and it depends on the application for the company. So which is pretty awesome. And then obviously we have the different models itself. We have even like a people counting for bus. So if you just want to monitor how many people go in and off the bus the whole time, this is directional, so you can know how many people go in, how many people go out exactly. So very amazing technology. And then the normal dash cam, and you also have the indoor cam, so you can look at the driver. There's also a panic button, and there's additional accessories that can be connected to this this model itself. So as Marcus in the previous week discussed with the product introduction, I know it was very technical a little bit, but it's kind of tricky when it comes to these type of things. It's not really something that you can, how can I put, from a marketing side of things, it's kind of tricky because these are different operations of things. So it makes it a bit tricky just to show to the normal public itself. Anyway, moving along, not going to carry on holding on to that. So for the mobile monitoring side of the GPS itself, the reporting, the data reviews itself, so the starting point is that we need to do by the step-by-step instructions normally would be obviously to make sure that the platform is sorted out and the mobile device has been added to HIK-Central Professional. That's through the resource manager. The next option is obviously to create that area, and in that area also you need to make sure that everything has been set up, like the speed and all the normal settings itself. The next one is obviously the GPS side of things, is to make sure that all those settings have been set up and whatever your rules are for that. And the next option would be is to set up the fencing. So there's different ways of setting that up. We also need to make sure that you use for the premises and make sure that you put up the fencing so you don't have that GPS drifting and stuff like that. So keep that in mind as well. And then the next one is obviously the driver information as well that we need to put into the vehicle. So that needs to be uploaded as well. And then also the history of it and the reports needs to be set up. So whatever you want and how many reports you want to, what notifications you would like to get. So here's a little video just to showcase. It's very quick, guys. Like I said, if you would like to pause in between, obviously these videos will be loaded on YouTube. For those of you who are watching at the moment on YouTube, you can, and you should be able to just pause them a little bit and go through it. Like I mentioned earlier, these type of setups is just for us to showcase the brief introduction and just a little bit of a guidance that's available as a tool. If your company or you would like to go further into it, this will be obviously the way to contact us and then let us know, and then we can schedule trainings and stuff like that. All right, so just jumping into it, there's no sound, so you're unfortunately going to have to hear me. So this is on the normal HIK-Central, so I'm just going to pause there quick for a few seconds. Obviously on the mobile devices, we need to add those devices onto the system. So just like a lot of our normal devices where you would add, obviously on the device, you can go and see what is the IP address and what is the server port number for that. You can also make sure that you name it correctly. Okay, now he's going to restart it because obviously he's changed a lot of the settings, especially the IP address. So then he would be able to add it in as a normal user, or for device itself, sorry, not just a user, but a device as a user. He's adding it in because he's going to be using it. Different protocols and different ways, depends on your application. All right, so now the next is going to be for the areas. So the areas will be set up. So again, I'm not going to keep on repeating this. Each application is different. This is just a general point of view as a small, quick guide to show you. And if you guys would like to go through that. So they're step by step and it's quick. So because we don't want to waste too much time on this. So yeah, and then you can put up the speed threshold. There we go. So all those little nice little settings in the basic settings, if you want to change it, okay, well, nobody uses miles here. So if you're in South Africa, we are used to kilometers. Your normal dates itself, your report itself, how many seconds frequency that it needs to report for that GPS locations as the vehicles are going, because obviously we're trying to save a bit of data. These devices use a SIM cards. The other option is for us also to be able to use the Wi-Fi in that area of the depot, as an example. So when the vehicle gets there, it will upload it straight to the server through the Wi-Fi. So you can see we're putting our fencing rules for where the company is and what we need, and there's also time schedules. So in the next quarter, we will be going through this a little bit individually alone for smaller setups, but this is just a general way. All right, so now we would be able to add it onto the map as well. So that information is there. So that fencing is also very important. It gives you that capability of also making sure that everything is fine. It's nice that you can search for every vehicle. So once there is something, you can immediately go to it. The locations are there. Mapping for the report. And this is on the report status for the device. So you can see it shows you the last 7 days because that's how it's been set up. So all that reportings are there available for any company or any monitoring person to be able to have a look at that. Okay, that's the GPS location. So today's report, it shows you, and you can go exactly through that report. All right, so whatever the diagnostics is that the company needs or information that they need. Okay. So this is on the vehicle itself. It shows us the location of the vehicle, the name of the vehicle, the speed that the vehicle is doing currently, and the cameras as well. So a few of the guys do have that. Also very nice option is the two-way audio, if you do accept that functionality as well, is so the operator can talk to the driver and say, I just got an alert to say harsh braking, what's going on, or to say that, listen, you have wavered off the path that was already allocated for the delivery. Then the driver can say, you know, it's load sharing. The robots are not working, sir. None of them are working in our country. So we have to go into an alternative route. And I hate sitting in traffic. So I'm not used to traffic, but anyway. So this gives us the capability of handling all that information itself. So we're close to the end of this one. So there you can see the vehicles in that area. Okay, there's the report. So any HR or any manager or control room or whatever the case is would be able to monitor all that, pull the report and take it to a Excel sheet, and it gives you that capability. Right. Okay, moving along. Right, so the next one is our docking station itself. That is more for our body cams. So that gives us the capability. Body cams can be used by courier companies. It can be used by on response companies. So this makes it a little bit easier for them to monitor. I think in the next future, this is becoming a very big thing for on response companies and courier companies, because it gives them the capability of having a bit more control as a company, especially from an insurance point of view and a safety point of view. So seeing that we are living in this country, courier companies do get targeted quite often, and on response gets quite often targeted as well, because they own firearms and etc. And there's house breakings and business breakings and stuff like that. Overseas, these get used by the police and other security companies and courier companies, so it's very popular. So just going through the normal docking station for us to be able to load it to the system itself. So obviously we're going to add it through the resource manager itself. Then we're going to be adding the person itself for the individual login and their passwords and stuff for that information. Next option is going to be to import the videos as well. So it allows us to be able to see what's happening on their body cam. The following one will be for the location for those storage, and then obviously the GPS locations as well. That's also in there. And then the next one is to be able to add the video for the search, so we can do the actual body cam playback as well. So that gives us that capability for saving that to whichever platform, how we would like to do that, and obviously naming it for those specific events so we can search it a lot easier. So as we go through, just to showcase that a bit for you guys. Here we go. Maybe I should start with music. Okay, I'm joking. Yeah, so the next is obviously to add that docking station. So very straightforward. Your normal username and password that you've already assigned because you've already activated that devices. So then obviously we can change to the storage, what we would like to do. And then the person, yeah, it allows us to add. So you can also import files for existing people that's already been loaded. So it gives us that capability as well. So some people have different information already from their terminals at their offices. So it allows us also to grab that information. So then we can obviously put that docking station into a group and obviously name it what we would like for staff, as an example here. So the next one is to be able to select which ones is allowed for that specific group of staff. Right, and we apply to all the devices in that docking station. So the docking station is a very big unit itself. So very nice. It can charge quite a few of the body cam devices. We have quite a few different models available. So keep that in mind as well. Right, and different events that we can trigger. So all of that options are there. So it depends on what you would like to set up. All right. So now we're going to go through the video recording itself, the devices. So you'll see that coming through just now, all of it. Go. There we go. So there you can see those body cams. There you can see the docking station as well, a little bit in that video. So it gives us that capability of going through that feed to make sure that everything is also correct for us to be able to search whatever the situation is. All right, there we go. So you made a group as a test. Let's through. So now it's been set up by the device. Right. Next one is for our management side. So the basic. Okay, they're really moving very fast through all of these. Okay, so you can add in that map as well, so it makes it a little bit easier, especially if it is a company that's got security guards or armed guards for like a mall. So this gives us the capability of using the GPS location. So on that GPS location of that body cam itself, and because of the map, you'll be able to see where that person is going up and down, all right, or around the mall area. Okay, next up is on the body wall camera itself, is to be able to make sure the live feed, the two-way audio, everything has been sorted up and set up. So the next is obviously to go through the device settings itself of the body cam. The next protocol is to be able to use the ISUP or ISAP, as some people call it, whatever you would prefer. There might be very soon a lot of the companies that will be able to provide static IP address SIM cards, so you don't have to really use that functionality in future as well, but most of the guys are using it because it gives them a more better baseline. So then we can go to resource monitor and add that. With the next one is our events and alarms to be able to set up what our triggers is, our GPS location for our playbacks and maps, And then the next one is obviously also the toolbar and the live view of the playback itself on the device. And the next one is our alarms and our panic button. So SOS stands for panic. So a lot of guys are using it. So some people would say, why would you use a panic button for on response? He's supposed to be responding. Sometimes they are in very tough situations. These guys are taking a lot of risk. So it gives them a button to be able to silently press and go through to their control room, which will activate their live feed and immediately send that emergency so they can get backup. Very nice little feature. All right. So yeah, we're going to go through that little setup. Okay. So this is the way that we would normally add the device. So again, like I mentioned, depends on the application and your preferences. Okay, so I'm going to let that quickly run through. Just going to make sure that everything else here is fine. All right. Did it pause? It didn't pause, did it? It did. My apologies. All right, now we can see that the device is live. We go to monitoring itself so we can see that actual device. That's the body cam, and you can see us the location. So on the left hand side is where the map will be for that body cam. Obviously they haven't loaded a map, and that guy's keyboard is a little bit dirty, so maybe he needs to clean it a bit. So alarm inputs, this is where we can set up all that information as well for the events. Depends on, again, so all those little groups has already been added. So then you can also put up the alerts for that. So now we're transferring. So now it will show you on the live feed itself how many devices there is. We can look at the alarm. So if you press the emergency button, it will come through, and then you would be able to hear the recording. You'll be able to see the picture of what's going on. Very nice little feature. All right. So moving along. Next is our parking lot management. That's our third part. So this is to be able to show what the options are for that. So just to quickly go through this, I know that Marcus has gone through a bit in the previous modules, but just to quickly show you, obviously this is our HIK-Central Professional. That's our server and our client. So it depends on what your application is. It goes through the LAN directly to your site. Obviously, if you have a static IP address or however you load it onto the software. So as an example for your entrance here, you can have your ANPR camera to pick up the number plate. The next one is obviously to have a boom gate. So once it picks up the number plate, the boom will open. But we have our radars as well. We have our different radars to be able to make sure that the boom doesn't close, and also for that anti-tailgating as well. That feature is built in. You have a screen to welcome the person or to tell the person to drive slow inside the building, or maybe to give him information of saying that maybe floor number 2 has open parking space. And then also your ticket or your card. So you can trigger your card and it will open up the boom, or to take your ticket like a normal mall would. And if it gets stuck because of load shedding, then you have a door station there so that you can phone the control room through that door station and then tell them, please override and open up the boom. The thing is not working, or get someone there because there's no power, thanks to Uncle Cyril. And then obviously we can do it through the exit as well. It gives us that capability. So just an overview, you have different ANPR cameras that you can use for this functionality for that. We also have that different radars itself, different booms. There's different lengths of them. Some of them have that scissor arm, others are just a straight pull. I'm looking for pool noodle, so I can use a pool noodle on our boom gate here at our showroom, so it won't hurt anybody. And then the next is obviously that vehicle detection radar itself, so the boom doesn't close on top of the vehicle, because that would be bad. And then obviously we also have the video intercom, and then to speak to the operator if there's any issues or whatever the case with your ticket, or maybe your child played with the ticket and draw it up anyway. Then we have that ways of have the capabilities of putting the tickets or taking your card or whatever the case is, so that you can get out or etc. And then we have the displays itself. There's different sizes as well, so to be able to give you that view of giving that information towards your client. Okay, so the next options is for managing these parking lots systems itself, the setups. So first of all, the vehicles, the card management. So we're going to be focusing on that. Then it's going to be adding those devices, especially for the intercom and the access control, or under access control itself. And then also for us to be able to have the license-based details. So if there's maybe somebody that's already known for the business or the mall that's working or have a shop at the mall, you can pull in all those registrations and it will open up automatically. And then obviously the parking lot settings itself, the basic settings. So let's quickly go through all that information a little bit, just to showcase that a bit more. And then there's still no music. Maybe I need to have some elevated music there. But anyway, right. So adding those vehicle lists, look how pretty that looks like. HIK-Central is really pretty. It looks very complicated, but once you get trained up and you know how this works, it's a really, really nice tool to have for any business and company. So yeah, we are adding that list. So we're naming it HIK staff as example, and this gives us the capability of adding that list. You can also export that list into a Excel sheet, so you can create the black list, the white list, etc., etc. So keep that in mind. And you can also say what times that they are allowed to have access. So if it's staff, you can say that they're only allowed to come in through that with their registration from 6 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the evening. Other times it won't work. So this is where that list will be for the vehicles. So you can obviously upload it back into the system once you've created all your information that you wanted. All right, so any modifications that you need to make regarding that, or information saying what type of model vehicle it is, and if there's maybe additional drivers. So that gives us the capability. Right, so for the next one should be our adding the devices. Sorry, I thought we already had the video intercom. So adding those devices itself. So obviously sharing it through the system, uploading it. Okay, so depends also on your license for your HIK-Central. So keep that also in mind if you're not sure about these type of licenses and what you are allowed to do, not allowed to do, and how many ANPRs you can load. You can speak to your ND, your company that you deal with. They can speak to us. They already have all that information. Okay, so that's for your entry exit. So gives us that capability of putting all that triggers through for the parking lot. There we go. Once it's been added, there we go. It will showcase exactly. So now we can have all that information already on our list for our entry exit. The nice thing about this is we can pull any reports regarding that. So we can tell you exactly how many vehicles have entered, how many vehicles have exited for the day, or how many people have entered that staff, and how many visitors we've had that has taken tickets or cards. So it gives us that capability. And then obviously which direction they are parking. So we have different entrances and exits normally at malls, especially. So this will allow us to say, you know what, most people always go by entrance 2, and we're hardly using exit 1 and exit 3. So that gives us the capability of why maybe it starts with certain shops there that most people don't go to. So maybe there's something they can look at from a marketing point of view. All right. So the next one is to manage that entry exit itself. Adding the entrance, adding the exit itself gives us a capability of having more rules to be able to set up for that environment. The next one is obviously also to record everything in real time. And then we also can display whatever the parking information is for that parking lot area to showcase where they can go to and what is available. Next is also to do a quick vehicle search. So that gives us a capability of if there's maybe a vehicle that bumped into another one, we can immediately search for that vehicle, see where the parking is for that vehicle, and see who bumped into that vehicle at what time. Okay, so showcasing that a little bit quickly. We're almost done, guys. Hang in there. Tomorrow is Friday. There we go. So showcasing that through the HIK Pro. All right. So yeah, we'll be able to add those entry exits. So we can also change the name if we would like to. It's always best to change the name for the correct environment, so whoever the operators are or the service technicians don't get confused. So it gives us that capability. So as you guys can see, all right. And then obviously the rule names and what those rules are for and why we need them. Okay. So obviously this can also be integrated into a third-party system as well. So if you maybe have that floor spikes, you know, like some of the companies do for some of their entrances and exits for their malls or certain big companies. So that can also be pulled in as a rule to say that once that is there, it shouldn't just poke the wheels. Okay. And then we can also link those cameras for those specific areas. So especially if there's overview cameras, you can link those overview cameras into that. So it's nice. Everything is on, I'm showing on the screen, sorry. Everything is available for all your information as that parking lot itself for that vehicle solution. So it's quick on hand and there's quick monitoring for that itself. Okay. Here's our parking lot. So this is just to give you an overview. This is just a picture of different registrations that's coming past. There we go. So now we can calculate all that. So instead of using an actual place, I just use a monitor with a lot of registrations to make it a bit easier for the testings. So it will tell you they're not allowed, as you can see. So all that information is there. So obviously this is just a monitor. In real world, you'll have that cameras. So it will quickly give you that alert. Especially if there's somebody that's been creating any troubles, or maybe a staff member that has been let go because of certain reasons, then you can blacklist their registration. And then if they do arrive, it won't grant them access and it will immediately warn you as well. So, and then whatever information you would like to record of that vehicle, like the color, the make, the model, that kind of information, you can also add that in, right? So here's your list. And then after you're done adding that onto the list, then you can import it back itself as well. All right. And then you can also do that report. Okay. My apologies. All right. So the next is just on the parking lot management. So as I think we got one more to go, but anyway. So my apologies. My phone keeps on ringing. All right. So regarding this itself, to get your tickets itself from that specific department. So there's quite a few different units that you can have. Most of those cases get used at big events, like maybe as example, the F&B stadium for parkings for certain vehicles. I think who's coming next year? Yeah, but we'll see. So there's quite a few events. I'm not going to discuss those type of things, but in any case, so also for malls and stuff like that, you can use that functionality so that you can charge the people and keep a record of that itself. Right. So first of all is to enable that modes for the parking lots. And also if you have free parkings, there's certain malls that will tell you if you're there for an hour, it's free parking. And then after an hour, they will start charging you R5. So then you get into the mall, you run in, you basically just get something small, you run out, 5 to 10 minutes later, you're back at your vehicle. And then it tells you when you put the little card in that you have to pay R5. But it says it's free for the first hour. How does that work? But anyway, so moving along. So obviously top up for the vehicle search itself. And then also we have the parking lot recordings for live view itself for the real-time solution. And then also the payments of those recordings to make sure that they can cross over. So if there's a specific vehicle and they take their card, they go to the machine and they put it in and they pay for it, you can take that camera and allocate it to that specific card for that registration. From there also, you'll be able to do the same for the boom gate. So the nice thing, if there's an incident and you got the registration, you put the registration in, it will give you the entire log from the person when the person came in with his vehicle to when the person went into the mall and took his ticket, and then from the time that the person paid for his ticket and also left the mall itself with his vehicle by the boom gate. So that little log would be there as well. So very nice feature, very secured feature. Right, Hikvision. All right, so having a look at that setup itself for the rules, the fee rules, to keep that management itself. So again, like I mentioned, these are different protocols, different applications. So there might be different departments in your company that will handle this. So one person will be handling the boom gates and the interactive of that kind of solution and the setup and controlling it. Then you'll have another person that will have the reports and stuff like that. And then you also have another person that will set up all the billings and the accounts, more like the HR type of things. So you can have different divisions in your companies to be able to do that, which is a very nice feature. So yeah, you can put the time and you can say how much it is. So what is the next time? And if it's free, what's the duration, which is normally not working in our country. So you're still going to pay no matter what. So if it says it's free, it's not free. Don't know why they do that, but anyway, maybe I'm just very unlucky at some of the malls in this Johannesburg area. I think I'm just very unlucky. But anyway, so these things happen. So this gives us that solution to register it. Okay, there we go. So all those rules are there. And even you can have additional rules so that you can add in if you would like to. If there's somebody that specifically goes and parks in a disability parking, they can take their ticket also, and then because they get reported by the control room can put that fee on there, and then they need to go to the little machine and then they have to pay that fee right there and there before they unclamp the wheel. So those things are also there. So having more control over your parking and your security for that type of purpose. Okay, and there we have a staff member, and we can tell her you're going to need to pay your amount, your outstanding amount. So maybe if you're HR or manager or somebody that uploads this and one of your staff members haven't bought you lunch in a while, you can go and add additional money onto their parking, so to cover your costs, so you have more lunch. Maybe that's an option. I'm joking. Don't do that. It's wrong. No. All right. So we can see all that basically going through. So I'm not going to go too far down that. We can also print that out if we need to for that solution. So obviously they're using a different printer there. But anyway, so print it. Yeah, exit now. There we go. Okay. So we will be able to go and see that. Come on, let's move along. Search, there we go. So yeah, you'll be able to see how many with maybe cards, how many with cash, etc., etc. So it gives us that capability. So let's move along. So also the time periods as well, and then that little graph that you'll be able to see. So giving that report to maybe to your management to say, you know what, we have installed this. This is our records of how much we've made for the month or maybe for the year regarding our parking. So obviously different money will be allocated for different uses, maybe for cleaning up the area, repainting the lines again, fixing some of the equipment to monitor the parking lots. So that is where that comes in, paying for the security guards and the security system itself. So that's why we pay certain malls for that application of securing our environment, and in our country that doesn't always work that way. So I'm sure some of you have experienced that. Anyway, right, so for the ticket depot itself, to keep control over that management itself for the entry exit, so obviously we're going to be showcasing that a little bit, and then obviously adding that units to capture that itself. And then the next one will be to be able to add it to HIK central HIK-Central Pro. So it gives us that capability to be able to search for those devices. Our parking lot management for our rules and regulations for that parking lot. And then obviously, like I mentioned, also that recording and capturing and real play for any operator or control room to get that information. And like I said, because of that real play, you can also set it up. If there's any rules that's been set up for notifications, it will send you the notification to your mobile phone, or or to the control room. And then also that report that you need to pull. All right, so let's quickly go through this one. This should show that. Okay, so there's our device. We can add our cameras onto that. So password, there we've added it. So it's armed. Okay, so now we're going to log into it. There's the IP address, come on. Okay. So entry exit, we're adding it. Come on, move faster. Okay, the next one. Okay, and then the ANPR. So there's our license figure added in. And obviously the exit ANPR camera, save it. Okay. Bombing station is normal. So all that has been set up. So now we go to our areas, our specific camera that we can rename, very importantly. A lot of people don't name that. Okay. Okay. And then our parking lot testing. Let's just showcase that quickly. All of that is there. Yep. Go save it. So the automatic template is also in there. But again, it all depends on what your company's setup would be for this. This is just like I mentioned earlier, a general, and then you have your visitors and all those type of vehicle list, your blacklist, your whitelist, your timing schedules, all that. So when you pull your report, everything is how your company would like to receive that. Okay. So let's move along from the template for the parking lot. Okay, there's the fees. Yes, we know that. Okay, moving along. So the rules for how long you would like that period to be for the specific fees. Sometimes the financial sites also changes. Maybe they change it now from 5 Rand to 6 Rand. I don't know why they would do that at all, but yeah, that capability is also there. So let's move along. Just want to show quickly. There we go. All right. So just to showcase that a little bit for you guys, there's the vehicle, there's all the information. Okay, he was a boss. I didn't know he's a boss. So as you can see, some of them are allowed, some of them are not. So all that information of that vehicle, the temporary, quick target search, quickly to see if there's anything, if they haven't paid, if they've been there for longer than they need to be, and you can flag, and then you can build them according to that. Right. Okay, there's the vehicle. A quick target search. So you can say how long. And there we go. There's your report of all of that. Unknown vehicles, known vehicles, etc., etc. See, very easy, very straightforward, very nice. But like I said, if you are a specific company, the best is for you to get the proper training on this this is just a normal introduction of showcasing what is possible and to give a little bit of a guidance of what you can do. Okay, and there's your stats report that you can give through to your boss to say exactly what has happened for the month, the day, the year, whatever you would like. Okay, so the next one is just on the parking system itself. So these are different ways that we can focus on that itself. So inside the parking lot area, especially if it's underground, it makes it a lot easier because obviously the sensors. So this is mostly for underground parking. You have a terminal by the door entrance itself of the premises. Well, not at the door, but inside the mall area, so you can use that capability. The nice is you have a screen to tell you how many vehicles is inside and which area they're in under that platform. The next one is also to showcase where there are availabilities. So as you can see, if you go left, there's 0 slots available. If you go right, there's 0. But if you go straight ahead, there is 1 available. So you can be able to see that. So just to showcase that, obviously we have the unit itself, which has up to 32 channels to be able to manage that environment. The next one is obviously for the display itself. So that gives us the capability of giving customized information of what's happening at that specific time. And then the next one is obviously the little boards on the top section. So you can have small ones, bigger ones, there's different sizes. And then they can basically be allocated to let you know what is available, what's next, and to guide the person. So once you get in past the security booms and everything, you take in your ticket, you get to the underground parking, it will go in, and then the system will tell you exactly which direction you can go to see available parking. If you then select a specific parking or select a specific direction to go straight, you can follow the lights as well to indicate to you where the open parking is. All right. So, and then obviously the display. Okay, so just to quickly go through that, I think this is the last 1 or 2. Obviously to add the devices itself, the screens, the displays. Obviously the next step is for us to be able to map and to showcase what open spaces there are. The next one is to be able to set up the parking cameras and the remote host for them. And then the next one will be for checking the parking spaces overall, the overview of it. And then to be able to check the operation side of things. Okay, so let's quickly go through that little guide. Come on, there we go. As we discussed just now, so under HIK-Central, here we'll be able to add that terminal. So the terminal would be the main hub to be able to communicate with everything. So that makes it a lot easier. All right, and then obviously we can allocate the amount of cameras or which cameras we would like to add onto it for the overview and the view of the system. We can send that through. There we go, and then we can do the same with the screens. So obviously you need to go and check what is the IP address of the specific displays. So there's the IP addresses and the port naming itself. So that's the indoor basement 1. There we go. So once that has been added, the next one is to add the floor, how many floors there are, which floor it is. So this is floor of the basement 1. So as an example, B1, I just call it basement 1. So used to one that we have here at our office, we already have this set up at our office here in Johannesburg in our basement. Very, very pretty little system. So here's our little map. So this gives us the capability of putting those locations of where they are. Okay. So you can allocate exactly those type of spaces. So there's 3 parkings. And so we carry on with all the other parking spaces. Yeah, my apologies. There we go. All right. So we can select certain ones as well. You can even go one step further, like we've seen in a video before. You can also go and set up to say that the following 10 parkings in that building as VIP parkings, or maybe for management, or maybe for shop owners, or for delivery. Uber Eats could be even. I think I'm just hungry right now. Yeah. So you can allocate it once the person takes that parking, even though it's not allocated to them, it will alert them itself and tell them that they're not allowed to park there. So for any of the businesses that use this type of functionality, or would like to look at this functionality, this is very big. It's very easy to use for their specific environment. For those that are not used to this kind of environment, I know it looks very tricky and very complicated and a lot of information. Okay, so we're just going to move along regarding that rules, the IP addresses to set that up. Okay, and there's different ports and etc. etc. So yeah, we can see if we do that search, and then also again to pull the reports and showcase that to our management. Okay, the next one is to find a car. This gives us the capability of doing that setup to be able to make sure that the terminals can be able to find the person's car. So when you are at that area, so I'm not going to say it's my wife, I think it's more going to be me. No, I'm joking. I do remember where I park. So if you're in the mall and you're done shopping for the entire day and you're like, oh goodness gracious, where did we park? And then you know, okay, I know we were on floor number 3, so let's go to gate 3 or floor number 3 or whatever the case is. You get there and you can't remember, did you park on the left, did you park straight, did you park right? So the nice thing about the terminals is once you put in your registration, it will guide you to your vehicle itself with your card. You can't go and then just put in just the registration. You need to put your card because obviously you're leaving, you're paying for it, etc., etc. So once you put that in, you put your registration because that card is allocated to the registration. So you should know both. And then basically, or you should have the card and know your registration. So it will guide you through the lights directly towards the vehicle itself through the mapping. And we're going to quickly have a look at that functionality itself of the settings. Okay. There we go. So again, licenses, this is very important. Each HIK-Central professional needs a specific license to be able to handle all of that itself. Okay, so under resource management, we can see that. Here's our floor B and or ground floor or whatever, basement 1 and basement 2. So now we're busy with basement 1. So there's your little layout of your setup. So from that terminal where you come down by the escalator or maybe the lift, it will give you that guide. So you put in your registration. Once you put it in, it will guide you to that itself. So this is the interface on the terminal itself. So just to give you that idea. All right. Okay. Q&A, we're going to do that now after this recording. So I would like to thank everybody for joining us, and then see the rest of you with the next video. Let me just stop this quickly, guys.